Well, hi there. So about a year ago, I made a little video called The Pros and Cons of Portland, Oregon. That was a cute little video and all, but I actually don't live there anymore. I now live in Orlando, Florida. So of course that only meant one thing. Time to make a pros and cons of living in Orlando, Florida video. So the first pro is definitely the most obvious, and that's how it's theme park galore here. We've got Disney World, we've got Universal, we've got SeaWorld, we've got Busch Gardens. There's even smaller ones called Fun Spot if you don't want to drop all that bank on the bigger theme park. Now, I'm an adrenaline junkie, so the theme parks are right up my alley. I'm currently a Disney pass holder, but I have not been to Universal yet. I also haven't been to SeaWorld, but I have been to Busch Gardens, which is actually a couple hours away, but hey, it's still in the ballpark. But with all the theme parks brings our first con, which is all the tourists. Now, when I first moved here, I was just kind of like, whatever, tourists, no big deal. But I've been here about a year now, and they start to get on my nerves. Like, I hate that if I just want to go to the mall on a Saturday, that it's going to be like a zoo. So sometimes I have to plan accordingly. I can't go to certain things during the busy time. If you try to go somewhere during like Christmas or the summer, forget about it. And with the tourists comes their great driving skills. Oh man, people don't know where they're going, which Orlando's kind of confusing when you first get to it. So people are like flying across the lanes because they're like, oh, there's my turn, I gotta go. Now the next pro is that aside from summer, the weather is pretty great the majority of the time. Like, I love that if you want to go to the beach in February, pack your bags and go because you can. Like, we're some cold days this last winter, but I guess that's really unusual, and it didn't last very long. For the most part, it's gonna be sunshine all the time. There's no snow, thank God. No ice, just the sunshine in all its glory with those occasional thunderstorms. But speaking of the weather, that brings us to our next con, which is, of course, the god-awful humidity. So this is technically my first full summer here. I got here in August last year, but I don't really remember much about it, so this is kind of my first time dealing with the humidity, and oh my god. You sweat like crazy. I don't think I've ever sweat this much in my entire life. It is definitely hot, and it's definitely not for everybody. When I go for runs, even if it's like 11 p.m. at night, I am like glistening like crazy when I get back. Also with the humidity, your hair and makeup, goodbye. There's no point. At least not in the summer. Sometimes it doesn't last the car ride to work. I'll do my hair and then I get there and I'm like, no. And my makeup all starts sweating and I'm like, no. So that's a battle. We also get those crazy thunderstorms that just out of nowhere just starts downpouring. It's a pain when you're trying to drive or when you're trying to do anything outside because you will get drenched. I'm like, there's been so many times where I'm like, my car is just 10 feet away, I can make it. And then by the time I get to my car, I'm like dripping and soaked in water because the rain was just like But on the flip side, it could be a pro if you like thunderstorms, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's so awesome, like seeing lightning and thunder. I do not like thunderstorms, but if that's your thing, then there's plenty of them here. Now the next pro is the beaches. The closest beach is probably about 2 hours away, but you have so many you can choose from. The whole state is just surrounded by beaches, so if you love beaches, this is definitely the place to be. Now the next con is probably one of my least favorite things about living here, and that is the drivers and the traffic. Oh my god. First of all, I have never seen so many people go under the speed limit in my entire life. Like, I don't know what it is. On the West Coast, everybody was all about going boom, like as fast as you can. They had to go places. They didn't want to wait around. Here, no. I know there's a lot of like retired people here and a lot of tourists who are out of town who probably don't know where they're going, but it just, oh my god, it just kills me. And then like the roads are just set up so weird too, and there's always construction. Like, I don't know if they ever actually finish anything or if they just like using the cones for decoration, but it's everywhere and it makes traffic 10 times worse, and the stoplights are so slow. I don't know what the deal is, but driving here is just a nightmare. It's awful. I hate driving here. I hate it. Oh my god. My least favorite thing about living here by far. There are also toll roads, which I've been able to avoid for the most part, but sometimes there are certain places you have to go where you have to go through them, and it's annoying. You can get a little sun pass that you put in your car so that you can just go through and don't have to stop and pay, but it's just a pain in the butt. Tolls suck. It also takes a really long time to get anywhere. Just the way Orlando is built, it's spread out very far, so it's gonna take you forever to get anywhere. It's just a way of life. Like, you better get comfortable in your car because you're gonna be in there a lot. But another pro is that there is plenty of things to do here. Like, not only do you have the theme parks and you have the beaches, but I mean, it's a tourist town. There's everything, like things I've never seen before, like machine gun range shooting and these crazy mini golf courses that have like waterfalls and pirate ships and all this stuff. Not to mention the biggest McDonald's I have ever seen in my life, which I have yet to go into, but I'm going to do it because that sucker is 2 stories tall. I gotta see what's inside. And everything's just so over the top here. Like, there's this Ferris wheel that's always lit up and doing like light shows at night. There are also so many like restaurants that I'm just like, what? Like dinner shows, all these things that I've just never seen before. There's just always stuff to do. Like, I have a list of things I want to do that I haven't even done like barely any of them good. There's just so much. There's so much entertainment. Another con is all the weird critters and animals you have to deal with here. I have had plenty of encounters with frogs and lizards and bugs that just look weird and are too big, and I'm too afraid to kill them. But I guess on the flip side, it can also be a pro because there's lots of different wildlife here. So if you're into that, you see all kinds of birds and all kinds of critters. I don't even know what half of them are because out on the West Coast, I never saw any of these things. So half the time, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I already know what you're all thinking. What about the alligators? I have actually only seen one since living here, and it was out in the middle of like nowhere. I was coming back from the beach, driving down this road that's like totally empty in the middle of nowhere, and one was just coming like it was gonna cross the road, but then it got scared by a motorcycle and ran off. But I was like, is that an alligator? So that's the only one I've seen, but I do avoid them like crazy. If I see water, I'm like walking as far away from it as possible because I'm like, nope, I am not gonna get eaten by an alligator. That is not how I'm gonna go out. Another pro about living here is the types of people you meet. You meet people from pretty much everywhere. Like, it's very rare to find an Orlando native, even a Florida native. People come from all over. I've met all kinds of different people and heard all kinds of different stories. It's pretty cool. Like, everybody's from somewhere else. One of the first questions people ask you when you're here is, where are you from? Because they know you're probably not from here. I think it's really cool, all the different people you get to meet and all the stories you get to hear. Like, it's a huge mixture. Now, I thought about adding hurricanes as a con, but being inland in Orlando, it's not really a huge deal. So when Irma came through, I actually left because I was a coward and I was like, I'm not staying here for this category 5 to come and kill me. Nope, bye, I'll see y'all later. But from what I heard from other people, it was just strong winds. It wasn't anything too crazy. Because we are inland, it loses its power as it goes through. So I guess you could say it's a con, but it's not really a huge concern considering we're in the middle of the state. So those are the main pros and cons of Orlando. So far, I really like it. Like, the driving does drive me crazy, and so do the tourists sometimes, but overall, I like that I'm never bored and there's always something for me to do, and it's definitely a unique city. I do plan on making another video talking more in depth about what it's like to live here, but for the gist of it, that's pretty much what you have to deal with living here. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!